Sony released the PlayStation 4 Pro 10 years ago as a mid-generation upgrade to the PS4. Commanding a $400 price tag, the Pro promised better performance compared to the original PS4 and the PS4 Slim that launched right alongside it. Being 2016, 4K was all the rage, and gaming consoles that had launched several years earlier were lacking in their ability to output the resolution most of the new TVs on the market were capable of displaying. So with that in mind, Sony set out to develop an upgrade capable of 4K output, at least sort of. While not truly capable of rendering most games in 4K, the PS4 Pro does improve resolution overall and is capable of using advanced rendering techniques to achieve 4K output that, while not a true native 4K, is pretty darn close. Certain games were even marketed as PS4 Pro Enhanced and were designed to take advantage of the Pro's increased internal power, achieving that near 4K resolution or higher frame rates, while others could use the Pro's boost mode to take advantage of the higher GPU and CPU clock rates to help improve performance overall. The PS4 Pro didn't represent a generational leap in power, but it did provide a nice boost to an already impressive console, one that helped maintain PlayStation's already dominant lead over rival Xbox and its new truer 4K One X. And if you're sitting here wondering why I'm talking about a 10-year-old mid-generation update to a last-generation console, well, it's because I recently bought a PlayStation 4 Pro, and I wanted to see if spending $140 for a slightly better version of a console I already owned was a good idea, or if I should have just saved that money for a PS5 before the price goes up even more. Also, I apparently really wanted to have a jet engine in my house. Yeah, we gotta fix that. I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs of the Pro versus the original. Oh, the Pro has faster USB, a 1TB hard drive. None of that really matters at this point. You're not buying this over a regular PS4 or a Slim for those reasons. You're buying this because you don't have a PS5. You don't want to pay $600 for a PS5, and you want to play some great PS4 games. And you want to know the best way to play them. Your choices come down to the regular or Slim versus the Pro. Let's talk about price, because if you're considering buying a PlayStation 4 in 2026, that's probably your #1 concern, and with everything going on, it's a very valid concern. And this isn't like choosing between the PlayStation 3 or the 4, because the 4 couldn't play PS3 games. So there was a real dilemma there, but the PS5 can play every PS4 game you want, but it also costs $600 for the digital version, and a regular or Slim PS4 goes for about $100 on eBay right now. And the Pro goes for about $150. I got mine for $140, and that included shipping, tax, everything. Well, it didn't come with a controller, so not everything, I guess. Still, pretty good deal, and at least in my mind, not an outrageous premium to upgrade to the more premium PlayStation 4 model. When the Pro came out, it cost $400, while the Slim cost only $300. But the Slim came with a 500GB hard drive, while the Pro had a 1TB hard drive. The Slim did offer a 1TB version, but it cost $350. So even back then, the premium was about $50 for the performance boost. I didn't buy a PS4 until the 1TB Spider-Man Slim bundle went on sale for Black Friday for $200 because, well, I'm very cheap. And this was the best deal in all of gaming. So I was very price conscious, and there was no way I was going to buy the Pro version, even if it was discounted to like $300. I don't remember if it was or not. But now, 10 years later, it's still about a $50 premium. Is that worth it? From my experience, yes. Now, it's a pretty limited experience. I've only had this a few weeks and only really played God of War Ragnarok on it, but I've enjoyed it, and I've noticed an improvement. My TV is not an amazing TV. It's a Samsung, it's 4K, 60 hertz. I got this from my brother-in-law because it was actually broken. Well, not really broken. One of the LED strips had burned out, so I just had to replace it, and bam, practically free 4K TV, which is just a perfect addition to my gaming setup. And going from playing God of War on my PS4 Slim to the Pro does show an improvement. It's not like going to a PS5. You're not getting ray tracing, you're not getting 120 FPS or 4K 60 FPS. You're getting either close to 4K at around 30 FPS or 40 to 60 FPS at 1080p. But that is better than the 30 FPS at 1080 you're gonna get on the base PS4. And it is noticeable. God of War is smoother when playing on the Pro, especially when you set it to performance mode. I don't know if it comes through on the camera all that well, but Well, here's some footage of my TV as well as from my capture card, and yeah, the movement is smoother and it looks just a tad bit more crisp. I'm not sure if it comes through all that well in the footage. It's got YouTube's compression and my camera only does 4K at 30, so you're not really seeing it at its best, but I do think you can tell a slight difference in these videos. Though it might not be enough to really sway anyone on the fence. I tested both games that are Pro enhanced and ones that aren't. Those that aren't do see a benefit because the Pro has a boost mode where it can use the higher processing power to give games an overall boost, even if they weren't specifically designed to take advantage of the Pro's power. But something like Ragnarok, a newer game, one that also released on the PS5 and has a Pro enhancement, looks great, both graphic-wise with better clarity as well as a noticeable improvement in frame rate. I'm not super critical about any of this stuff, but I could tell the regular PS4 was struggling to keep consistent frame rates when playing Ragnarok, with some noticeable slowdowns when the action got heated, and that's completely understandable. This is a game that came out in 2022, when the PS4 was 9 years old. It's amazing it even came out for the PS4 and wasn't a PS5 exclusive. I think if it were any other console generation change, it wouldn't have come out for the PS4. Could you imagine something like Phantom Pain releasing on the PS3 in 2015? And while it performs admirably on the regular PS4, and I think you can find a great time playing it there, it does just have that extra boost that smooths out the frame rate and gives you a much more consistent experience. And I think that's really where the benefits of the Pro come in. It gives you more consistency across the board, with every game running smooth and some even running smoother or clearer, but in the end of the day, the Pro's running everything at a higher level. And while the regular PS4 can achieve that in some games, some older games, some less demanding games, it does have to dip back down when the action picks up, when the number of enemies or explosions or things going on push it beyond its limits. Both consoles are a sacrifice compared to the current generation PS5. It's just that the regular PS4 has to sacrifice a lot more and a lot more often. But for saving you $400, the PS4 Pro isn't that bad a sacrifice. And with all that savings, that's like 15 or 20 great games you can buy for this thing, and that's barely scratching the surface of the PS4's library. You want to buy a PS5? You're looking at $600 for the digital, and $70 for a game. For my money, the math just not mathin'. But game performance isn't the only thing to consider. Yeah, about that. I did see some people commenting on my previous PS4 video about how the Pro just sounds like a jet engine, and well, they're not wrong. Listen to this thing again. And that's just after launching a game. It's not bad in the menus. I even thought it was a little overblown because while setting this up, it didn't sound bad at all. But as soon as that game started rendering, the fan kicks on and kicks on good. I set up a decibel reader on my phone and you can see that the Pro is clocking in at over 70 decibels while playing. It's loud enough and close enough that I can't really even hear the TV. You compare that to my Slim that's not been cleaned or had a thermal paste replaced since I bought it, and that's only coming in at 33 decibels. This thing wouldn't disturb a library. So the issue is, I bought this Pro and I want to play on it. And it does play fine, but it is also sort of annoying. And I want to fix that. So welcome to a collaboration between this channel and my old channel, Fix More, Waste Less, where I try to fix broken electronics. This isn't technically broken, it works fine, but it is reaching its upper thermal threshold, which is why the fan thinks it needs to launch itself into space to help cool it down. So to help it, we're going to replace that old thermal paste and give it a good cleaning. And to do that, we have to tear this thing apart. Okay, now, it's been a while since I opened a console, and I've never opened a PS4 Pro, but I have watched a video on how to do it, so let's give it a shot. And like a lot of PlayStation consoles, it's actually pretty simple. You just pry up these corners and you get access to the internals, okay? So if this is something you want to undertake, I highly recommend watching a few videos. If you've never done something like this, it's not hard, okay? But it can certainly be intimidating. I fully understand that. I remember being so nervous the first time I opened a DSi, which was the first console I ever fixed. And yes, you absolutely can mess something up, but it's unlikely you'll do anything catastrophic. But if you're not careful or a little unlucky, you can rip a ribbon cable or tear something. You want to especially be careful with these antenna connectors. They're just so small and so easy to break off and a real pain to have to solder back in place. Just know that most things can be fixed. You can buy these ribbon cables you can buy really any part at this point somewhere online. But no one ever wants to take what should be an hour job and turn it into a weeks-long project because you have to wait for a replacement part or you have to buy tools that then make buying an older console end up costing more than a new one. But the best thing about replacing thermal paste is you don't need any special equipment, really, just a few screwdriver bits like you'll find in this iFixit toolkit. Not a sponsor, but I will leave a link down below. This was the first thing I bought when I started getting into console repair. And you need this because PlayStation loves their security torque screws because they think it'll keep people out, but yeah, they're wrong. The only other thing you need is new thermal paste. I'll leave a link for this as well. It's Arctic, it's like $5, not that bad. And so we can see that the thermal paste on here is dried up and it's not even really covering the APU die anymore. I do wonder if they just came from the factory with a little too little thermal paste and that's the issue they all have, or if replacing this just buys you like a year of quiet operation before it starts ramping up the fan again. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. And it wasn't just the thermal paste causing issues, but that heatsink was clogged up with so much gunk. So in the end, I gave the Pro a good bath with some isopropyl alcohol, got rid of all the dust and gunk in the case and the fan, everywhere I could get to, and then adding just the perfect amount of thermal paste, as Tronics Fix would say. It's probably not the perfect amount, but whatever. We can put it back together, hope we didn't mess anything up, and see what it sounds like. And it started up, which is great. You never want to mess something up when you take a console apart just to clean it. But the verdict is that this is a lot quieter than it was. I don't know if you can hear it coming through, but if I shut up, you can see it's hovering at about 40, 43 decibels. So a lot quieter than the jet engine, which is great. I'm very happy with that. I can at least now play the Pro and be able to hear what it's saying and what I'm thinking. So if you're thinking of upgrading your PS4 to a Pro, or you're thinking of buying a PS4 and want to know if you should get the regular or the Pro, what should you do? My recommendation is, if you already have a PS4, I don't think the Pro's worth the upgrade, unless you sell your PS4. If you sell yours for about $100, you make maybe 80 on eBay, or you sell it somewhere without fees, yeah, okay, but to just spend $150 for the upgrade it's not worth it. But if you don't have a PS4 and you're looking to jump in, I think it's worth the extra $50 to have the best experience possible. The consistency of the Pro is a huge benefit, and if you have the setup to take advantage of it, it's worth it. That being said, you're probably gonna have to deal with a very loud fan on the Pro. And if you're not looking to open it up and do a little cleaning, replace a little thermal paste, then you might not want to go that route. It really is very loud, very, very loud. And depending on your setup, where you play, how close you are to the console, where your TV or monitor are, what time of day you play, and if you have anyone else trying to sleep, it can be very distracting and take more away from the experience than it adds. That to me is the main point. If you're okay with taking this apart, and it's okay, I believe in you. I think you can do it, and I say go for it. And be glad it's not a PS5, because those overheat too, but they don't use paste, they use liquid metal, and that stuff can get everywhere. All right, that'll do it for this video. As always, thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you liked the video. Hit subscribe if you like the vibes. Whatever you do, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.